In 1933, King Kong was unleashed onto movie theaters all over America. The film was a box office success and inspired a generation of future filmmakers. One of those people was a 13-year-old Ray Harryhausen, who says that his life was forever changed after he came out of that movie-going experience.
Half the charm of King Kong when I first saw it, I'd grown as Chinese at the age of 13, was that I didn't know how it was done. I knew it wasn't a man in a suit. The picture haunted me, particularly the animals, the fact that you could bring dinosaurs alive. And then my father had a friend who'd worked at RKO, and he told us all about stop motion and how they were puppets and moved frame at a time. So that intrigued me, and I started experimenting on my own as a hobby, because I used to make dioramas of the La Brea tar pits, but they were all just models of prehistoric life.
Stop motion, if you do not know, is an art of animation where a figure is moved frame by frame to give the illusion that it can move on its own. Ray's idol was the man who brought King Kong to life on screen, Willis O'Brien. Early in Ray's career after World War II, he worked on a series of fairy tales based on the stories from Mother Goose.
When I started making the fairy tales after the war, my father was very helpful. He had been an engineer in the early days, and he made all the armatures for me from my designs for the puppet film. And then, fortunately, my mother had talent of making little miniature costumes, so she dressed all the models of the puppets.
So when you have a background like that, where you have a stage set for you in the house, and you have a carpenter who can build for you, and a mother who can sew for you, my God, you have a perfect situation.
In 1947, Ray got his big break, being able to work with his idol on the film Mighty Joe Young, another film featuring a rather large gorilla not knowing how to live in the big city. Ray worked on 65% of Joe's movements in the film, and after was hired to work on the special effects for a film written by an old friend.
Ray said, "Would you mind coming over and meeting my producer?" The producer gave me a copy of the script they were working on and said, "We need your help. Maybe you could help rewrite this for us. Would you mind reading it?" So I went in the next room, read it, came out. They said, "Well, what do you think? Can you help us?" I said, "Yes. But incidentally, this story of yours is very much like a short story of mine that was in the Saturday Evening Post 2 years ago, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms." Well, the producer's jaw dropped, and I realized they had taken my story, forgotten where they'd taken it from, and called me in to rewrite it. So I didn't have to say anything. I didn't make a fuss. The next day, a telegram arrived saying we want to buy the rights to The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. And that's how the film got made.
The film was a hit, and Ray formed a long-lasting partnership with Charles Schneer, where they both worked on large-scale sci-fi films and creature features including It Came From Beneath the Sea, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, and 20 Million Miles to Earth. During the filming of 20 Million Miles to Earth, Ray made his permanent base in London, where he has lived there ever since. The invention of color film did not stop young Harryhausen from making his imprint in film, where he managed to perfect his stop-motion animation and create some of the most famous films that he is known for today. Those films include Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Mysterious Island, Jason and the Argonauts, First Men in the Moon, "1,000,000 Years BC", "Valley of Guanji", "Golden Voyage of Sinbad", "Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger", and last but not least, Clash of the Titans. Ray Harryhausen will go down in history as a stop-motion pioneer and a pioneer of special effects, and in 1992, he received the Oscar from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science. Even now, Harryhausen's legacy carries on in many people's work. Notable cameos include the restaurant in Monsters, Inc. being called Harryhausen's, the brand of piano in Corpse Bride is called Harryhausen's, and many people speak very fondly of his work.
When I was a kid, my life was changed by a handful of movies that exploded into my consciousness and swept me away into worlds of unbridled imagination. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, 20 Million Miles to Earth, Jason and the Argonauts, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, Mysterious Island, First Men in the Moon, Valley of Guanji. These films all have one thing in common: the mind of Ray Harryhausen.
We wouldn't be here today making these movies like Jurassic Park and like Avatar without the trails that you blazed.
Thank you for having given life to monsters that populate our imagination and the imagination of millions and millions of people, and taken the art form of cinema to heights never before dreamed.
Ray has always been very much a one-man band, and the way he would do his own concept drawings, his own storyboards, do all the moulding, the casting, the modelling, and animate the damn things.
We love Ray Harryhausen, the legendary effects genius. We're all saying happy birthday to Ray. Ready? Happy birthday!